I got divorced, it was the worst thing I'd ever experienced in my life. And I thought, you know what? Life cannot get any worse. Then lockdown happened, and I lost everything. And I thought, okay, after divorce and lockdown, there is no way my life can get any worse. Then I tried online dating. So let me take you back to 1997. I was working in central London, a carpeted office, stuffy atmosphere, old coffee machines, no internet, no mobile phones, no modern day technology. It was a different world back then. And the only way to meet anybody was in bars or in the offices. The problem was I was incredibly shy and I struggled to talk to people. See, I grew up here in Northern Ireland, where everybody would talk to me even though I didn't want them to. And then I went all of a sudden to London.
I would go days, weeks, sometimes even months without talking to a human being.
And that sometimes would come years without a relationship, just unable to communicate with anybody. London is a beautiful city, but it can be lonely. And after several years of being alone, I started to struggle with mental health, although we didn't know what it was called mental health at the time. And I asked my father and mother for advice. And they always gave me the same advice. Become a vegetarian, get married and have kids. That's the solution to pretty much every problem in life. And I thought, you know what? Everybody I know who's had an arranged marriage is happy. Maybe I'm missing out on something in life. So I went in India and I had an arranged marriage. I met a woman for 20 minutes. Literally 20 minutes. We're sitting opposite each other. I'm like, hi, what's your name? And what do you do? I mean, just the silliest questions. Do you like The Simpsons? Do you want to have kids? I mean, it was so awkward. And 4 days later, 600 complete strangers turned up at our wedding. And she then came back to England to live with me. She spoke basic English. Her had no family money, no connections, no qualifications. But she had that immigrant mentality of resilience and hard work. And after years of struggle, she went on to achieve remarkable success in life. She really was quite an amazing woman. And the thing was, by being married to her, I started to have success. And success, I thought this is great. I love success. It was all thanks to her, but still, it was success. And in 2015, we got a dream home. 3-story English country house. We had a sports car each. We had beautiful holidays. It was the perfect life in everybody's eyes. Now, what happens when you achieve that dream in life and you're miserable? It wasn't that I wanted more. I just thought, is this it? I am working 7 days a week to pay a big expensive house that I can't afford to impress neighbours. It was all wrong because I was taught since I was young, get married, have a nice house, have nice holidays, your life will be okay. But something was wrong. And we worked day and night to try and pay for the bills. And these small cracks start to appear in your relationship. You don't see them at first because they're so tiny. And I spent 23 years in corporate London. And in 2016, 2017, I said to my bosses, you know what? I want to work from home. And every boss I spoke to said to me, that's the dumbest idea in the world. It will never work. Only lazy people work from home. And when I talked about burnout and stress, they said, look, you're a man, stop it. Men do not talk about this. Let women talk about that nonsense. Men do not talk about this. And I was put down immediately. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do things my way. So I quit the corporate world and I set my own business up. Being good at your job and being good at business are two different things completely. I didn't realize that at the time. And so I made no money for the first year in business and my wife had to support me. That was embarrassing as a man. So if you can imagine working day and night, we're not spending time with each other. She's having to support me. My business isn't taking off. We're not spending time together. And then our daughter went to university. Boom, marriage was finished. We did everything we can to keep it together. We tried date nights, we tried holidays. It just wasn't working. And we were hanging on to something that just wasn't working. And so I went and saw a solicitor and filed for divorce. And that made me the bad guy. Everybody turned against me. She turned against me in a big way. My family did, her family did. I went to my closest friends, who it turns out weren't my closest friends. They were her friends. And my mental health started to suffer in a way I've never experienced, not since I was a young kid. And I got so bad and the divorce became so toxic that I said, you know what? Take it. Take everything. I found success once in my life. I will find it again. It is 2020. What could possibly go wrong? Well, the first 2 months of 2020 were fantastic. I got to say, I was rebuilding my life, rebuilding my business, and things were positive. And then lockdown happened. And I was shut off from the world. I was cut off from reality. I had no one to talk to. It was just, I was all alone, and I couldn't cope. I had no business. And I guess I should have focused on rebuilding my business, but I didn't. I thought, you know what? I'm going to try online dating, because I figured if I want to have success, it's better to have success with somebody. And I went on to all these dating websites and talked about my accomplishments in life and the awards I've won. You know, women like men that are accomplished. Well, they might do, but they didn't like me. Nobody, I mean, literally nobody would come near me. Okay, I'm not doing that in lockdown, but you know, it just wasn't a good situation. And my mental health got worse and worse. And I don't do drugs and I don't drink. And so I just ate myself to death. And I went from 3 meals a day to 4 to 5 to 6, and I was diagnosed obese. And when I got diagnosed obese, the real health problems got worse. And I was terrified, and I called my parents saying, what do I do? And they said, well, you've got to be vegetarian. You know, this whole conversation started again, but they were actually amazing, my parents. And they said, come back home, put everything you own in storage, come back to Northern Ireland, come live with us, get yourself together. And I'm very, very lucky I'll be able to do that. And how do you recover from that kind of shame and embarrassment in life? I mean, I'm a coach. I help people do better in life. I help people overcome their problems, and yet I couldn't help overcome mine. Well, my mum's hugs helped massively, I'll tell you. Her home-cooked Indian food was a blessing. I mean, not that chicken tikka nonsense you get in restaurants. I'm talking proper home-cooked Indian street food. Dad got me connected closer to God, and he got me doing more charity work. I couldn't give 10% to charity like I used to because I had no money, so I volunteered and gave my skills. I learned about philosophy and stoicism, and I slowly built my health. There's so many beautiful spots in Northern Ireland to go for walks, and I just got better and better and better. And I was starting to get my life together. And then a second lockdown happened, and I thought, oh no, this was 5 months. It was cold, it was brutal, it was not good. And I found it tough, but I was just about surviving. And the 5th month, I just cracked up. I couldn't take it anymore. And then one night I went to McDonald's, and I just ate Big Mac after Big Mac and fries and Diet Coke, and I couldn't stop. And the next day I was grocery shopping, and I met an old school friend. And she said to me, I saw you at McDonald's last night. You looked absolutely miserable. And I went, thank you very much. It's very nice of you to notice. And she said, it must be very difficult for you, you know, having left everything behind and losing so much and being forced to live with your parents. And it was one of those situations where someone tries to make you feel good, but they just make it worse and worse. And I felt horrible. I didn't really know how to process the pain. And I started writing about it. And I did something unusual. I thought, I'm going to put this on social media. So I put it on LinkedIn. It's a platform I was aware of. It had about 650 million users at the time. I was a nobody in that platform. I had about 1,000 followers. I couldn't really make it work. And I put my post on LinkedIn reluctantly, and I kept deleting it several times, but eventually I put the post up. And it went viral. That shocked me. A viral post? Thousands of people were commenting, saying, hey, hang in there. Thank you for having the courage. Thank you for having the vulnerability to speak about your pain. And what was interesting was I had thousands of private messages, mainly for men working in insurance and banking and logistics, who said, you know what? We can't talk about this in our office. It's bad. We cannot talk about vulnerability. Thank you for being my voice. This is unheard of. And I was trying to process this new situation I found myself in, where people were following me and asking me to write about my life. And a few weeks later, lockdown lifted, and I started dating. And there was a picture of me on social media having a meal, and opposite, it was empty, because I stood up. And I put it on LinkedIn, and everybody was like, oh my God, I've been there. Don't worry, it'll get better. Hey, hang in there. And all of a sudden, I just started getting this massive following. I'm a great believer in the business world of persistence and consistency. 2 great underrated skills. And the third one, which went really big, was when I saw my daughter. I hadn't seen her for almost 11 months. She hadn't been vaccinated. My parents hadn't been vaccinated. She was doing her final exams at university. And she flew over from England to Belfast International. And my daughter is private. She's very quiet, very shy, doesn't do hugs. And so when I greeted her at the airport, it was very British. Hello, darling. It's very nice to see you. Welcome to Belfast. You know, it was so weird. It was so formal. And I took her suitcase and I put it in the car. And she put her arms around me. She said, I missed you, Dad. I just couldn't believe it. I just burst into tears. It was such an emotional moment. And then I ruined it by saying, look, I've got to put this on LinkedIn. And I put it on LinkedIn. And the post went viral, over 250,000 views. Now here's what happened when I did all this. My following got big. And people saw through my job title. My job title, by the way, consists of two of the worst words in the English business language: sales and coach. Nobody wants to be near anybody who does sales or coaching. I do both. And people saw past that and they saw a human being. In social media, so many people are bragging all the time and showing off and look at me, I did this, I achieved this, look how awesome I am. Whereas I'm talking about mental health challenges and struggles and loneliness. I'm talking, even in business, I'm vulnerable. You know, my client promised to pay me last month and they haven't. This client I've been speaking to for 6 months, they've disappeared. I can't get hold of them. I was always sharing my vulnerability. And all of a sudden, people were doing business with me and my business took off. And this was incredible. I couldn't believe it. And all of a sudden, I'm making money for the first time in the year. And it was a wonderful feeling. And I started paying off my debts, and I started having savings. I started giving more money to charity, and why else would I have this November mustache on? You know, I just was trying to make the world a better place because embracing my vulnerability made me human. And it was wonderful. So I thought, okay, I got my business sorted out. Now it's time to sort out my love life again. So I'm back to online dating, but I did it differently this time. Instead, I changed my profile, and I didn't brag about my accomplishments or what I'd done in my life. I talk from a vulnerable perspective because embracing your vulnerability makes you human. I said, you've been stood up, so have I. You're struggling to find the right person, I know how you feel. And all of a sudden, people connected to me on a different level. And all of a sudden, I started dating in Northern Ireland. But yes, dating at my age is not easy. You meet a lot of people who are 20 years older in their profile. You meet a lot of people who are married. You meet a lot of people who are married whose partners are not to watch you. You meet a lot of people who are really not in a good state and you shouldn't be dating ever. You meet a lot of very strange people. And finally, after several months of dating and trying to meet people and often getting stood up and just not connecting, it starts to get really frustrating. Then one night, I met Rachel. And she was a single mom, brought up 2 kids by herself. And there's 2 things I noticed about her. First of all, her tremendous capacity for love. And second, her ability to make people feel so at ease within seconds of meeting them. And my family adored her. And she was vegetarian. So my family really adored her. And she worked for the NHS, so she had everything going for her. And 6 months into our relationship, we're inseparable. We're together almost all the time. And we're walking along the beach in Northern Ireland. And summertime in Northern Ireland is like one of the most beautiful places in the world. It really is. And she turned to me and she said, I love you. And I was like, whoa. Because here's the thing, after a 21-year marriage, I'm now holding hands with somebody. It's really vulnerable holding hands with someone. And you're hugging somebody. It's vulnerable holding somebody's hand. It's vulnerable kissing somebody. You're lying naked in bed next to somebody. Okay, that's kind of amazing, but it really makes you vulnerable. And now saying I love you, I didn't really know what to say. I can't remember my answer, but it was something terrible like, cool, what's for dinner? It wasn't a good answer. It really wasn't. But a few weeks later, I was giving a big talk. And I was mentally and physically just drained from the talk. And I drove to Rachel's house, and she made me a mug of chamomile tea. And she took off my shoes and she rubbed my feet. And without hesitation, I turned to her. And I said, I love you. Because embracing your vulnerability makes you human. There is hope after unbearable pain. There is love after heartache. But you have to embrace your vulnerability because embracing your vulnerability makes you human. Thank you.